Good afternoon. Happy Friday. The weekend is here. Welcome to the 3D. 3D. It is the Drew Dickinson Diatribe, and it drops every Friday afternoon right here on the Soccer Down Here network. I can't thank you all enough for listening, wherever you may be. Of course, the main focus, the main topic each and every week will be on my beloved Manchester United. So let's dive right in, shall we? After an interesting week last week, the blunder against Chelsea and the draw against Liverpool, United are back tomorrow as they travel to the Vitality Stadium to clash with the AFC Bournemouth. Kickoff will be tomorrow, Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These two clubs don't have that great of a history. We talked about the Liverpool matchup last week where they played over 100 times. These two clubs have only played each other 21 times. United have 14 wins. Bournemouth have 4, and the other 3 were draws. Manchester United currently sit in 6th place with 49 points, while Bournemouth sit 12th with 41 points. As we all remember, back in December of 2023, Bournemouth came to Old Trafford. And hear me out. Bournemouth came to Old Trafford and they got absolutely destroyed by United in every single statistical category, except for the one category that matters the most, and that's the scoreboard. Goals from Dominic Solanke, Marcos Senesi, and Philip Billing earned the away team a 3-0 victory. And, it's one of those Manchester United games that I spoke about last week. You haven't had that much of a sickening feeling in your stomach, in regards to the Chelsea game. The last time I can remember feeling, that disgusted was the 3-0 home defeat back in December to this Bournemouth team. United took 20 shots to Bournemouth's 10, 660 passes to Bournemouth's 296. United took 10 corners to Bournemouth's 4. So for Bournemouth to take that amount of shots, score 3 of them, and United to take 20 and to score none, it was a typical, beginning of the season 2023 for Manchester United. And if you want to say things can get worse for United, Bournemouth recently acquired American Tyler Adams, who's back from a couple of injuries that he had. You saw him play with Leeds. He missed some of the summer tournaments with America because of the injury, and he's back in contention with Bournemouth, playing a lot more minutes. He's going to be a defensive cushion in that midfield for the Cherries. And of course, Solanke will be leading the line. Last time out, United against Bournemouth, United left that midfield so wide open. The Cherries just had a field day, dribbling in through the midfield into the defensive third of United within seconds, it seemed like. So let's hope some tape was studied to fix that issue. Manchester United, yes, they're still hit with the injury bug, especially on the defensive side. It's getting almost laughable at this point. Raphael Varane, Johnny Evans, both out till May. Varane and Evans picked up new knocks in the Chelsea game. Varane went out. Evans came in. Evans went out. And remember, already without Victor Lindelof, Lisandro Martinez, and Luke Shaw, before the Liverpool game, reports have come out that Scott McTominay himself picked up a knock. So he's potentially out Saturday. And of course, new on the list is Marcus Rashford, who exited the Liverpool game with an apparent knock, unsure of what the specific diagnosis is. But right now, that's 58 separate cases of injury and illness this season alone. And people want to talk about Ten Hag out. It's the manager's fault. He's forced to bring up youth who, mind you, have excelled so well. In particular, Kobe Mainu, Kambwala, and of course, Alejandro Garnacho. But it seems like every game that I can say this, players are going to have to step up this week, okay? We saw Anthony play 2 really good games in a 3 or 4 day span with the Chelsea game and the Liverpool game last week. Ahmad who came in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup and won the game for us against Liverpool. He's chomping at the bit for some more playing time. So, unlike last season, replacing Marcus Rashford won't be too difficult. Just to remind you, Rashford had 30 goals in all competitions last season. So, if he went out injured, it was pretty much the attack going out injured. But he's been awfully consistent this season. So, Ahmad, Anthony, who's really coming on strong. We could even see Mason Mount slot out there, be put out there on the wing. And we know that Ten Hag likes to put Bruno out there, at which I've made very vocal that I hate. But he's the coach, and I digress. I do expect the same midfield three. I know I just mentioned Bruno playing on the right, but I expect Casemiro and Mainu to play the 8 and the 6, and Bruno to play the number 10, lead the midfield charge. The back four shouldn't be changed from Liverpool, with the injuries. And honestly, even if Victor Lindelof came back, I just wouldn't throw him out there quite yet. So I would like to see Diogo Dalot, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, who's having the season of his life. If he hadn't gotten injured those couple of times, who knows where he'd be with contention on United's Player of the Year. I know that sounds crazy, but besides Andre Onana and Alejandro Garnacho, I'm not too sure who else could be in contention for that. But anyways, Harry Maguire is center back, paired up with the 19-year-old Frenchman, Willy Campbell, who has, just come on strong. Recently, the last 4 or 5 years, United have really stocked up their youth program with some of the best 14, 15, 16-year-olds around the world, with that, Alejandro Garnacho Campbell, who captained the French youth national team at the time he came to Manchester United, just played a fantastic game against Liverpool when called upon this season. He's really stepped into his role. And of course, look for Alejandro Garnacho to be the biggest, if not the most, dangerous, the most dangerous goal threat with Rasmus Højlund on Saturday. Whether Garnacho plays on the right or the left, the kid can really do it all. Andre Onana, at this point, needs no introduction. He's been a beast in 2024. We've said it time and time again. We know his absolute blunder, collapse, whatever you want to say, in European competition for Manchester United this season. But he has found a way to put that behind him, which some of these players on the team have such a horrible head case. They're not good mentally. Their headstrong isn't as basically as strong as Andre Onana, because he's been abused by the fans, and he, on top of that, just played horrible in Europe and to begin his career at Manchester United. But again, to beat a dead horse, he has really, really come on strong, to the point to where, again, if he wasn't in goal, who knows how many more of those shots would end up in the back of the net for the teams playing against Manchester United. One thing is for sure, United have to leave with 3 points. I feel that Champions League is just about impossible at this point, but you could definitely string some wins together, feed some points on that standing board, and catch the Europa League spot. I think United win on the road tomorrow 2-1. It's going to be a tough test. A couple emotional games last week, Liverpool and, of course, Chelsea. It's just incredible to me how bad the Chelsea game turned out and how great they turned around and played against Liverpool. It was very, very, very promising. It could really go to one of two ways. United could really sink back into that Manchester United mode that they've been in all season, go up 2-0 and collapse at the end, but find a way to win, or dominate the game with the players that they have and play fairly well against a Bournemouth team who's not coming in with much of an injury crisis like Manchester United. But I can't keep harping on an injury crisis team. This is Manchester United again. Next man up. I don't see any issues with beating Bournemouth on the road. Any Premier League game on the road is hard, especially at teams like Bournemouth. Like I said earlier, they have 41 points. They win, get 3 points. They are going to start climbing that board higher and higher and higher. 8 points off United is not a gap that's hard to close if Bournemouth play the way that they've been playing, especially with Tyler Adams stepping into that defensive midfield role. So with Manchester United, they've got a chance in the next 4 or 5 weeks to really, really amp up their status in the Premier League table. Their next 4 Premier League games obviously at Bournemouth tomorrow. And I know this isn't a Premier League game, but next week, the weekend of 420 and 421, the Premier League will take a break, or United will take a break from the Premier League. They'll head to Wembley to face off with Coventry in the FA Cup semifinal. Ten Hag makes it back to an FA Cup final and wins it. I could almost guarantee you his position is safe with United if it's not already. But again, I digress. So they'll have Bournemouth in the Premier League. Then they'll host Sheffield United. They'll play Burnley. And then they'll go away to Crystal Palace the first weekend of May. And after that, it's Arsenal, Newcastle. So you got a chance to really, really, on paper, that's an easy isn't I shouldn't say that. It's an easy 12 points for Manchester United. That's on paper, especially with some folks possibly coming back from injury, i.e. Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford, Lisandro Martinez. But with Martinez, you really got to be careful because this is 3 times this season he's come back and immediately been put back on the shelf because either he's not fully healed correctly, he is trying to rush himself, or like we've talked about the last month, that medical staff, that's very, very, very questionable. But anyways, back to it. April really looks like a make or break month for United's 2024-2025 European status. And like I said, it only gets more difficult come May. After Crystal Palace on the 6th, you got Arsenal, Newcastle. So things start to get a little heavy for United when they start to wrap up the season. So securing 10 to 12 points in April and the beginning of May is completely crucial for Ten Hag's European status. And not just that, you want to bring in players in the offseason. You want the transfer window to be phenomenal for Ineos's first summer. And securing a European spot will definitely make that easier to attract popular and what I like to say, sexy players. United currently are 11 points behind the fifth place Aston Villa. United need all the points, safe to say. Well, that will do it for me today. Again, I can't thank you all enough for listening to me this week. It's been a treat. 2 3Ds in a week? What's going on? I really, really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Enjoy all the soccer, and I will speak to yous next week.